Hello, everybody. Welcome to Queer Games. Heck yeah, for today. Season 2, Episode 2. Am I doing seasons? Am I doing episodes? I mean, I guess I have like a Star Trek The Next Generation kind of kink, and so I'm like, if I can get 7 seasons out of this, I'd be pretty happy. Um, what are we doing here? We're doing Queer Games Heck Yeah, which is where we play through small indie queer games, just for half an hour or so, just to give them a bit of a shakedown, see what they're about, soak in some atmosphere. Last year I did it for the Queer Games Festival. This year I'm doing a bit of a preview, unofficially, like unaffiliated, for the Queer Games Bundle, completely separate event. But a lot of familiar faces. I was scrolling through the games in the Queer Games Bundle, and I was like, oh yes, a lot of these games, and a lot of the developers have also had games in the Queer Games Festival. So it is a small scene in many ways. But I mean, a lot of games where I've never heard of them. So I was like, ooh, 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 Queer Games, heck yeah. Um, so yeah, this is a bit of a preview of the Queer Games Bundle. What are we doing today? We're doing Which Was Lost and Has Been Found, which I feel there's a clever pun in that title. Um, so which bodes well, really, for the rest of the game. But I don't think there's any music, so it is a bit of a silent game. Before we get going, I've got to say up front, I know nothing about these games going in, so if you don't like surprise content, please look away. You know, no joke. There's no joke there. No punchline. Just, some people just don't like surprises. Um, I do think this game, though, may be an Australian game based on the dev who I've seen around before, I think. So I'm quite excited to do a local game. There's nothing quite like something made in a similar voice to your own, or to see your own world reflected back at you. It's pretty special. Let's get going. Which was lost? The game's antagonist is an overbearing mother who has caused lasting anxiety and self doubt in the protagonist. Okay, already I want to know whether the game developers' parents have seen this game. Oh, that would be so awesome to know. The protagonist has a panic attack during the course of the game due to her. It also contains ace and arophobia, both internalized and from that overbearing mother. I don't need to take screenshots because the thing with the previous round of Queer Games Heck Yeah is I had to take screenshots because I was making them for the Queer Games Festival. This time round, I'm literally just playing these games for my own entertainment. But I still want to take a screenshot of this. So I'm going to. I guess old habits die hard. But that is possibly the greatest message at the start of a game I've ever seen in the history of games. But let's keep going. Oh, I love the art already. Oh, that's so good. Alright, just checking. Yes, that's the way it is these days. You're like, as soon as you see really good art, you're like, let me check the fingers, let me check the toes. You are Blake. I do like the name Blake. They, them, that's good for me. You are asexual, aromantic. You have a loyal cat companion named Jasper. Oh, not really a cat person. You own a tavern named Witch Home. I like it. You are happy. Okay. Day 1. All your days start the same. Oh, I love the art direction in this game. Look at this. Like, only one third of the screen has the art in it. And that's such like a hardcore design decision to make that not every game, like 99% of games don't have the guts to do something that bold. It just gives it such like power, I reckon. Anyway, I'm loving it already. All your days start the same. You wake up, you get dressed and ready. Well, already this character does more in their day than I do. You feed Jasper. You eat breakfast. You open Witch Home for business and wait until customers start to filter in. Most taverns are the most busy during the night, but not Witch Home. Ever since you discovered a knack for potions, you imagined opening a place with various magical concoctions. Ones that weren't necessarily alcoholic. And here you are. The first one to walk through the door is a familiar face. Cute. With not even a greeting, August, a genderqueer rogue with a penchant for getting into trouble simply because they are bored, strides over to the bar and sits. Oh, I really like August. Very cute. They strums their hands against the table impatiently. If this was for anyone else, you'd probably find it irritating. But you've known August long enough to be endeared by it, to know what it means. Make August a drink. On mornings like this, August only ever wants one thing. Don't we all? Is it repeats of Stargate SG-1? All right. Vitality. Tea brewed with sparkroot infused water. Okay, I'm going to go out there and say this game has a lot of words designed to make me stumble. It's hardly even a potion, but its effects are magical regardless. We pick a interactivity in a queer game. I'm shocked. Okay, that was unkind. Okay, maybe there's a little dig at the previous game. I guess we've got to pick a. Okay, so we want sparkling. Okay, we can only pick one thing. All right, cool. You grab the tea leaves. You grab the sparkroot infused water. A short while later, you return to August with their drink. Cheers, they say, and take a big sip. Within moments, they visibly perk up. Ah, that hit the spot. Thanks, Blake. Thanks, Blake, they say before sliding over payment. Now energized, August leaps up from the chair and heads for the door. Bid August farewell. Ask them if they aren't going to stick around. We'll ask. Good drama comes from, I guess, talking to people. You ask if they aren't going to stick around for a little longer. August hesitates in the doorframe. Sorry, got crimes to commit, but I'll be back soon. August tells you. So they give you a two-fingered salute before leaving. You know they will return. Soon after they leave. I think the developer was in love with these pronouns, really. More customers are going to trickle in. Witch Home doesn't ever get incredibly busy, but you are only just one person. Maybe one day it will grow into something you need to hire other people for. But for now, you're happy with what you have. All your days end the same too. You close the tavern. You count the earnings you made that day. You and Jasper have dinner together. Aww. You read a book by the fireplace until your eyes can't stay open. This looks very cozy. Okay, the color palette's great as well. Orange, grey, and purple go together so well. It's very geometric because it's like, see how the screen's kind of divided into like 2/3 for the text, 1/3 for the art. But then within this 1/3 of the art, the ground is sort of cutting it into thirds. Then this is cutting it into quarters or fifths. I don't know. I want to assume it's deliberate, but it's all so tight. It's very nice. And when you think it's so sort of geometric and straight lines, but then the cat is actually so soft and kind of cozy. They did a great job. It's all you ever wanted. Day 2. August doesn't return the next day. See, thing is, like, the month is August, but then when it's a name, I kind of want to say August, because I guess of Augustus. So if I'm toggling between a bunch of different pronunciations for the person's name, that's the way it is. But they quickly become the last person on your mind. Around lunchtime, 2 adventurers stumble in. A ranger and a fighter. This is great art. Now, I'm vaguely familiar with the dev, I want to say Drazilian. You see these words all over the place over the internet, but you never say them out loud, right? So I guess it is Drazilian. They've been around for quite a while. I've seen a few of their games over the years. I definitely think that their art has absolutely gone up a notch in this game. This is like a new level for them. Not to say that, they were ever like not great. I'm just saying, I just think I'm just digging myself in a hole, aren't I? What I'm saying is this is a really beautiful game. All right, let's keep going. I was just scrolling through the page to see what else they've done. You wouldn't call them regulars, but you've seen them around. And it seems like they need your help. You notice a big gash on the fighter's side. Could you brew a health potion for us? He needs one bad, the ranger says. You make them drinks. Health potions are no problem for you. All you need is sparkroot infused water and life blossom petals. Sparkroot is doing most of the work. But before you go make it, you ask the ranger if she wants something. Lemonade, please. Lemonade, please. Okay, we can do this. We want the life blossom thingies. Where? Okay, yep. Life blossom and the root stuff and the lemonade. Do we need anything else for lemonade or just lemons? Okie dokie. You bring the ranger her lemonade before you get to the health potion itself. Uh-oh, by the time you finish making it, her glass is already empty. Nerves, probably. When you bring over the potion, she eagerly takes it and helps the fighter drink. The wound closes right up. Thank you, the fighter says profusely, paying you twice the cost of both drinks. Oh, and even the art changes. Okay. Solid. You introduce yourself. Oh, where are our manners? I'm Vidya, the ranger says. And I'm Carson, her companion adds. They happily keep you company at the bar. It isn't long before personal questions are exchanged. You ask if they're dating. That is very personal. You know asking such a question might be rude. You can't help it. You haven't known them for very long, but they seem close. The kind of intimacy you envy sometimes. Vidya laughs at your question. We get that a lot, she says. Vidya and I are queer platonic partners, actually, Carson explains. You ask them what queer platonic partners are. You've heard of queer platonic partners before. There needs to be a third option, kind of like, do I care? I make a terrible bartender. That's what I get out of this. Alright, I'm going to ask them what it is, but if I get an essay, I'm not going to be happy. They're nothing but patient with your questions. People have this idea that romantic love is better or more important than other kinds of love, Carson explains. But that's not true. Other kinds of love, like platonic love, can be just as important. Our relationship is a platonic partnership that isn't less than a romantic one, Vidya adds. You didn't know that was a possibility. You didn't know there was a word for it. Well, I mean, I did know it was a possibility, and I did know there was a word for it. Alright, we'll say we didn't know the word. What they've described matches something you've thought about before. The idea of being someone's partner without the romance or the sex aspect of it. But you dismissed it. You thought you were just yearning something you don't actually want. That's because that's what everyone around you wants. Because that's what everyone around you wants. And now you've been told there's actually a word for it. Vidya and Carson's words linger as you close the tavern, as you count your earnings, as you and Jasper have dinner together, as you try and read a book by the fireplace, as you go to bed and try to sleep. You can't escape it. Day 3. Interesting. When you open the tavern the next day, you are surprised to find people waiting outside. Oh, Vidya and Carson talk excitedly with each other in hushed tones. They only stop when they notice the door open. Keeping their distance from the other two, August stands restlessly. They have a glint in their eye, the kind that can only mean they pulled off a heist against some rich person. Oh, they all follow you inside. Vidya and Carson resume talking to each other once they have sat down. Jasper immediately wants August's attention and climbs into their lap immediately. Wouldn't we all? This gives you a moment to yourself, but it also leaves you with a choice. Whose order did you ask first? Okay, now I'm not a bartender. Wait, who sat down first? I'm going to go back. They follow you inside. They resume talking to each other once they've sat down. Okay, well, I'm going to say that Vidya and Carson sat down first, so they get the drink, and then hopefully that will give us more time to talk to August. Maybe it's because you want to become closer to them. Oh. Maybe it's because you want to talk with them more about queer platonic partners. Maybe it's because you're curious about what they were talking about. Regardless, you approach Video and Carson. All right. We've made our bed. We'll lie in it. I mean, I am kind of interested. They seem to have a lot of energy this morning. What do you recommend? Carson asks after the two look at the drinks list for a while. You tell him you know just the thing. Make Vidya and Carson drinks. You busy yourself with making a mannaberry and life blossom smoothie. Mannaberry and life blossom smoothie. Okay, those are life blossoms. That's the smoothie. And mannaberry. Okay. As you bring over the smoothies, you hear the door swing open. Oh. You don't think much of it, but you're certainly disappointed you won't be able to sit down with Vidya and Carson. Then you hear Jasper hiss, and then you turn and see her. Blake, she says. It's Mother. I love how she's just static. In a moment, everything fades away. You can barely register what she's talking. Something about how she's been looking for you. That she's been searching for you all these years. All you can think about is that she's here. That you didn't run away far enough. And now there's nowhere to go. There's nothing you can do. Ma'am, you need to leave, Carson's voice rings out. His imposing figure moves to block her out of your sight. I'm Blake's mother, she insists. And I don't think they want you here, you hear Auguste say. You don't know that, she sputters. And you do, Vidya challenges. I'll come back later, Mother says. And then she's gone. Uh-oh. You collapse onto the floor. Carson helps you to a seat. Vidya hands you a smoothie. This is good drama. Auguste brings over Jasper. Aww. While you drink, Vidya and Carson go behind the bar. Is there a calming drink we can make? Carson asks. Yes, it's called gin. There is, and you tell him you'll walk them through it. Let Carson and Vidya make your drink. It's just, there aren't that many. I feel like this game could give you a few more options. Like I think sort of structurally or narratively, there are places for it to branch and then come back quite neatly. Maybe in version 2. Lavender Mannaberry Tea, or Tranquility. Tranquility! That's hilarious. As you call it in more jovial times. It's thankfully easily to make. Okay. Oh, Mannaberries? The tea leaves? Where are the tea leaves? There. And lavender. Cool. The calming properties of the tea wash over you as you drink. You're still shaken. Not even magic can take that away, but the tea helps. The knowledge that there are people that care about you helps. Ah, I can believe that. The cat in your lap helps. Yeah, I believe that too. And for now, that is enough. August, Vidya, and Carson all refuse to leave. They don't want to leave you alone. They don't want to leave you at the mercy of your mother. So you let them stay overnight. Maybe they were just... I've met some adventurers in my day, and frankly, they always need a couch to stay on. So are they staying to help you, or are they like, this beats just, living in the forest for another night? It's a sleepover, Vidya declares. The hardwood floors won't be comfortable to sleep on. You apologize for it. If only we had a giant bed we could all sleep platonically in. We're not just going to leave over that, Auguste retorts, almost offended. Carson just grins. We're adventurers. We've dealt with worse, he assures you. You're so grateful for them. You close the tavern together. You don't bother counting your earnings. That can wait. Once again, I've met a few adventurers in my time, and I'd be counting my earnings and putting it in the safe. You all have dinner together. You talk until you fall asleep. You've never felt so loved. Oh, I'm liking this story, actually. When you wake up, you decide you're not opening the tavern today. Even a good night's rest isn't quite enough to recover from yesterday. Wow, and what if she comes back? You can't face her again so soon. After you get dressed, Carson approaches you. Can I use your kitchen to make breakfast for everyone? He asks. You tell him yes. Of course, why would you say no to that? Unless they're a terrible cook. Soon the whole tavern is filled with the smell of Carson's wonderful cooking, and suddenly you realize something. This is the first time someone other than you has used this kitchen. Ever since you founded Witch Home, you've done all of your cooking. Then you realize something else. Yesterday was the first time someone else used your brewing apparatus. It's terrifying how quickly you've let them into your life. You all eat breakfast together. Usually for you it's a quick affair. After all, you have a tavern to open. But today, you let yourself take your time. Savor each bite. Enjoy the company. After they're done eating, August stands up and heads for the door. For a moment you wonder if they're leaving as usual. I am stumbling on that a little bit. But then August speaks up. I'm heading to the market to buy supplies. It's a statement, not a question. I'm loving this setup. I'm thinking this really... I wish I had this tavern. But instead of a pet cat, I'd have like a, I don't know, pet lizard or something. Pet wallaby. Oh, ask them if you can come. Of course. You call out after August and they pause. Are you sure? They ask. Aren't you worried about bumping into her? You hadn't even thought about that. Go with them anyway. Together the two of you make your way to the nearby town. This is because I didn't serve them the drink earlier. First, you're proud of where you established Witch Home. Not too far from civilization, but still far enough to have some space to yourself. Once again, a little bit Ursula the Sea Witch. You know, I find in a lot of these visual novels, queer visual novels we get, they've always set up the potion shop just out of town, where they can help poor unfortunate souls. You know, and then they're the ones writing the stories. So they're like, oh yes, I was very helpful and everyone loved me, even though I wasn't allowed in town. Because, I guess for some reason people had the pitchforks out. Not too far from civilization, but still far enough to have some space to yourself. The walk over always helps to clear your head. Once you arrive at the market, you and Auguste quickly locate all the relevant stalls. It's surprising how familiar Auguste is with what you need. They're more observant than you give them credit for. It's a bit unnerving. You're flattered by how much attention they pay to you. It's only when you're headed back up that they speak up. So, how are you feeling? Their tone is level and calm, but it's a bit softer than their usual blunt assertiveness. This is August being concerned, you realise. Don't tell them much, vent to them. You tell August that you're terrified, that you thought you could escape your mother, that it took this to realise that you're lonelier than you thought, that everyone you've interacted since you founded Witch Home has either been customers or shopkeepers, that you've surrounded yourself with people but haven't actually made connections with them. Wow, what an insightful line. What a piece of wisdom. This is what I love about queer games, right? Is they can be diamonds in the rough, right? They can be a bit rough around the edges and the resources can be limited. But they're games so often made by people who really do a lot of introspection and really think about their own lives and the lives of people around them and the world around them. And I just think that that's just so genuine and can be deeply touching. And I think what a really great perspective that can have. Because you can be in a room full of people and if you haven't made connections, you can be quite lonely. You didn't intend to, but once the words spill out, you can't stop talking. Auguste just nods, a serious expression on their face. If it helps, I consider us friends, they say. Or at least someone I care about. I wouldn't do this for just anyone. He's very cute. You tell Auguste you also consider them a friend. You tell Auguste that does help, and hopefully one day you'll consider them a friend too. Well, no, we're already friends, come on. Once you're back, Auguste quickly begins placing all the supplies neatly on the counter. With them doing that, and you putting everything in their correct places, it is a quick process. I felt my mind wander just a bit there, so I think we are beginning to bump up against like that half hour of Queer Games Heck Yeah. It's not just because I kind of want to just give a flavour of the games, but also I feel like that's kind of how long I can do like a dedicated play and read and think sort of block. Because the moment I start to disengage from the game is the second I'm not giving it what it deserves. It isn't long before you notice Vidya isn't in the tavern. She went out foraging in the forest, Carson explains. You're like, I've got a larder full of like flour and hamburgers and, fancy alcohol, and you're going to be bringing me back some moss and some bark. This is great. Being friends with adventurers has drawbacks, I guess. She'll be back in a few hours. You nod and begin making lunch. Vidya returns sometime before dusk. She smiles as she presents you with a basket full of mushrooms, berries, and herbs. Okay, better than the bark. Once you accept them, she heads over to Carson. The two immediately get to talking. Blake, did you want us to stay over tonight? Gus asks, looking out the window. You hadn't thought about that yet. Your mother's visit was only yesterday. You haven't recovered. You don't expect to for some time. Still, this isn't right after a panic attack. And they are still 3 people you're not exactly close to. And you still have your boundaries. So you tell them you need some space to yourself. Oh, they understand, of course. They stay for dinner but head out afterwards. You read your book by the fireplace to distract you from your thoughts, and go to bed once your eyes can't stay open, and drift off. Alright, well, let's save it there at the start of day 5. Brilliant. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really tightly plotted, and it was very clear what people's motivations were and what we were supposed to be doing and what we were trying to get out of the game. The characters were very well delineated, and the art style was like surprisingly strong. Like, it was just a really good looking game, and it kind of just shows like you don't need much to make a good looking game. In a way, there was like 4 character sprites, including the cat. They did have different poses and facial expressions, but not like hundreds of them, kind of thing. And it was just 2 or 3 locations, so it was very well. It's just very well put together. Very happy with that one. That was Which Was Lost and Has Been Found. The links at the bottom, and it'll be in the text underneath. If you have any comments, suggestions, or requests, technically I take requests, although I haven't had one. So if there's a game you want me to play or go back to and play a bit more of, um, let me know below. But other than that, please have a good day, and I'll see you next time.